The Black Lens is an independent community newspaper that focuses on the people and the issues that are important to the African American community. The original intent for the newspaper was for it to be a happy paper. I think I wanted it to just be soft news, where I just shared stories about people that were in Spokane and the things that you don't really hear about. That lasted probably not even through the first issue. I set out to do that, and then there was a report that was produced by the Spokane Police Department. It said that people of color, particularly African Americans and Native Americans, were disproportionately impacted by use of force, and that wasn't really communicated in the media. And so I went, man, if I don't tell that story, then it's not going to get out there. So that was the first article of the very first issue, and so there went my happy news. And I don't get to do much of that these days. I was going to Cheney Junior High School. It was actually called Fisher Junior High School back in the day. And I have a brother that's 11 months older than I am. And as an 8th grader in middle school, you got to take shop class. So when I got to 8th grade, I signed up for shop class, and I was told girls don't do shop, girls do home ec. And so that was my first, like, excuse me moment. And I had a wonderful teacher, English teacher, who taught me how to write a persuasive essay. And I did that and submitted it to the principal, and it ended up changing the school policy, not for me, but for the people behind us. And that was kind of an interesting thing for a kid. So I'm 13 and I've just now changed school policy. You know, so that sort of gets into your psyche a little bit. And I think that started me on my journey of, you know, well, what else can I change? So that's sort of been my life. And the Black Lens has sort of become, it's an advocacy tool, even though it's a newspaper. For me, at least, it's another venue of advocacy and giving voice to people that don't have a voice or don't have as much of a voice as they should. I wanted to go to film school. I wanted to be Spike Lee. That was my guy, you know, I wanted to be like him, and I wanted to make movies that sort of impacted people and made them think. So I applied, and guess what? I got accepted, and it was like, uh-oh, now what do I do? And I called a good friend of mine, her name was Lois, and I said, Lois, what do I do? I owned a house at the time, my daughter's going to school, my parents are here, everybody's comfortable. What do I do? And she said, get your behind down to LA, or you're not gonna get this chance again. So I did. I sold my house, I packed up my kid, and we got a big old U-Haul truck and we drove down to LA, and I went to film school for 3 years as a single mom. I graduated in '98, and right out of school, got a position working for an African American woman, and I worked for her for about 5 years. She was a writer, director, producer. I learned all about the business. It was an amazing 4 or 5 years. I got a little bit burnt out from the industry because my dream had been to be Spike Lee, and I wasn't really doing that, you know, and it just felt like one of those crossroads times. So when my daughter left for college, I decided to come back to Spokane. The Black Lens is important to me. I hope it's important to other people. I think the value of the Black Lens is that it offers a different perspective. I publish it, I do the editing, I do some writing, although not as much as I did in the beginning. I'm also the delivery person, I'm also the advertising sales staff, I'm also the finance person. Everything that needs to be done, that's me. One of the best compliments that I get from folks is when they say to me, you know, if I hadn't read your newspaper, I wouldn't have known about that. And so I specifically go looking for those kind of things, things that are happening either locally or around the country that you don't hear about in regular news. I think we're really at a crossroads in terms of, what kind of Spokane do we want to have here? And so, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting, and I'll be covering it.